What? 2 Mega News videos in a single week?
Yeah, baby!
You betcha! It seems we can't go a single day without some Battle Network news lately, so here's some more. Including even more anime news, a look at the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection manual, additional screenshots from a recent demo, and more. So once again, time to jack in and legs go. Welcome to your Mega News for March 31st, 2023. Yep, it's almost April, and you know what that means. We are now officially 2 weeks away from Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. And much like the last video, the hype train is still rolling. So, coming to you from the ShadowRockZX YouTube channel and dmmnetwork.com, here's even more Battle Network news. Hooray!
Let's go, Len Hikari.
We shall begin with the Rockman EXE anime. Capcom of Japan has just finished uploading all of Rockman EXE streams. So, you know what that means. It's time for the Rockman EXE Programs of Light and Darkness movie. Yes, Rockman EXE actually got a theatrical film. Although, just in Japan of course. Mostly because NT Warrior never got the stream. Anyway, Capcom of Japan is going to be doing a live stream of the Program of Light and Darkness movie on April 7th at 2100 hours Japan Standard Time. Yep, much like the NT Warrior Marathon, we can do a watch party for this one too. Unfortunately, this is on the Japanese YouTube channel, so much like the Rockman EXE anime uploads on there already, there is a high chance that there are no subtitles whatsoever. Now, fan subs do exist out there. However, it would be really nice, once again, just to have official subs from Capcom themselves. And maybe we'll get lucky with this movie, but I'm not holding my breath. It's probably not gonna happen, unfortunately. Still, it's really cool to see that they didn't forget about the movie. I said that Rockman EXE stream was basically BN5 the anime. Well, this is BN5 the movie. It features Dr. Regal kidnapping Dr. Ikari. We even got Nebula Grey in there. Don't forget about the Duel Masters cameo. And you can't talk about this movie without mentioning Base Cross, which coincidentally, the movie is where the Base Cross e-reader card comes from in the first place. It was a promotional thing that you got for watching the movie in theaters. And then you could play a Base Cross on your copy of Rockman EXE 5. And Japan got all the cool stuff, didn't they? But thankfully, thanks to the Legacy Collection, we can now play a Base Cross ourselves. So yeah, I'm just saying, if you saw the Base Cross intro animation in Rockman X Dive, and you were wondering what that was referencing, it's literally referencing the Program of Light and Darkness movie. If you have never seen the movie before, it's a highly recommended watch. Maybe look up some fan subs though, in case Capcom doesn't provide their own. Oh, and you might want to be familiar with Rockman EXE stream as well. You're not going to be completely lost if you didn't watch the anime first, but it does give some extra context and raises the stakes a bit. Alrighty, now that we got the anime news out of the way, y'all ready to download the latest Battle Network Legacy Collection news? Here we go. So like I said, we are now 2 weeks away, so Capcom has published the manual for the Legacy Collection, both Volume 1 and 2, on the official website. You can even select your language and your console of choice, no Xbox unfortunately, so you can see all the little version differences therein. The main difference really is that Nintendo Switch is going to have local play, whereas the other versions do not. More on that later. As for the overall contents of the manual, they go through each of the Battle Network games, detail the controls, how to play, and more importantly, they even go into detail about how the online modes work, which is where most of the new information lies. Lastly, they will go over the download chips and patch cards as well as the Buster Max mode. And they do this on a game-by-game basis, because especially for online, there is going to be some modes that are available in some games and modes that are not available in some games. And that's just because Legacy Collection takes the original modes that were already there in each game and brings them online. They don't really add anything new other than ranked battles. However, there are some unfortunate cuts that came to light thanks to this manual, and we'll get to that as we go through the game. So let's start with Battle Network 1 and get all the way through here. Again, I won't spend too much time with the actual game explanations because it's pretty self-explanatory. However, it is important to note that in Battle Network 1, they don't mention pressing the L button to flee. In fact, there is no function for L at all in battle, and that just further confirms that yes, we are dealing with the Game Boy Advance version of Battle Network 1. No Operation Shooting Star to be seen here, although there may be an OSS reference later in the video, but I want to make clear right off the bat, it's not playable. And yes, that is a shame. On the topic of controls, however, I do want to point out something that's pretty jank, at least for the PlayStation version. So in the Nintendo Switch version, we use the Mega Buster with the B button and the Battle Chips with the A button, which actually works out. It's like the Game Boy Advance control scheme. I'm sure you'll be able to change it around however you like if you don't like that. However, I noticed on the PlayStation version, they put the Mega Buster on circle, which is where A button is on the Switch, and then using your Battle Chips is on the B button. So for whatever reason, they decided to reverse the controls around compared to the Switch version. Man, this is giving me some war flashbacks back to the Mega Man Anniversary Collection on the GameCube, when Fire was on A and Jump was on B, when it should be the other way around. Thankfully with this collection, you should be able to change that, so it's not a huge deal, but kinda weird. Alrighty, let's talk online battles. So we already know that you access the online modes from the network menu or comm menu depending on the game. Then you get presented with a Legacy Collection exclusive menu where you can go into NetBattles, trades, and whatever else there is depending on the game. We'll start with NetBattle though. So once you select NetBattle, you get presented with public match, private match, or the Nintendo Switch exclusive local match. And real quick, local match just means that you can play with someone in your physical location. Say you have a friend that has their own Nintendo Switch and their own copy of the collection. Now you can net battle with them through wireless communication, just like the old days when we had ShadowRockZX and the wireless adapter for our Game Boy Advances. Local connection also means that you could theoretically buy 2 Switches, 2 copies of the game, and then you can trade of yourself, so you don't have to rely on people online to complete your chip library. Anyways, let's go over public match, which allows you to match with players all over the world, and you can choose which region to match with via the network settings, which seems to imply that yeah, this is already starting to sound like peer-to-peer connection, not server-based, and not rollback certainly. If they're talking about choosing your region, you're probably going to want to stick to the region that you live in, because while you can try to connect with someone across the world, I can't guarantee that the connection is going to be stable. Then again, this is early days, we don't really know what the netcode is going to look like. I just hope that it's at least stable enough and you can play at full frames. Really, you can't do worse than the old VBA leak days and Hamachi days where, without using a pause trick, the battles were playing out at 1 FPS. Trust me, I was there. It was not fun, but it was Battle Network Online, so we took it. Hopefully Legacy Collection is way better than that at least. So once you select public match, then you get into the matchmaking settings. For Battle Network 1, that's casual match or ranked, and you could do the practice or the real thing. The only difference being, if you do real thing, then you forfeit a battle chip if you lose. Additionally, ranked match can only be selected when you pick public match, which makes sense. You know, you're not going to do ranked battles privately. And real quick, in private matches, like we covered before, you can set up a room code for your opponent to punch in, and then they join you and you net battle. Speaking of the devil, for every single matchmaking type in the game, you must choose if you want to be the host or the guest. And this does mirror how the original games worked. If you choose to be the host, you're essentially opening up a room for people to join. When you choose to be a guest, you'll be presented with a list of the players that currently have rooms open. You will see their name, their rank, their win and loss record, and a message that you can choose from a list of pre-composed ones when you create a room. From there, you select the opponent that you want to challenge, then your name will show up on your opponent's list. They will either accept or deny your challenge, and from there, you start the battle. Private match is the same thing, except if you are the guest, you put in the room code that was provided, then you'll see the host that matches the room code, then you can challenge them to a battle. For hosts, you will see all of the guests that join your room, and from there you can choose which one you want to challenge. It looks like up to 15 people can be in a room at once. So yeah, this is a full-fledged lobby we're looking at here. This setup is going to be quite epic for get-togethers with your friends, or when we do our NetBattle get-togethers on live streams. When it comes to ranked battles, you would still choose if you want to be a host or a guest, but from there your opponent is decided automatically, prioritizing players that are ranked similarly to you. Speaking of, we now have the full list of ranks, and it turns out there is indeed an S plus in there. It doesn't go from S to S double plus. There is an S 1+. Otherwise, it's the same thing. E, D, C, B, A, S, S+, S double plus, and Omega. The manual also details the requirements to ranking up. E to D is 10 wins, D to C is 15, C to B is 20 wins, B to A is also 20, A to S is 15 wins, S to S plus is 20 wins. Well, you just gotta do 20 wins every single rank from there until you get to Omega. Now you can also rank down from losing, and for ranks D to A, you will only rank down if you lose to a player of your same rank or lower. For D, that's 15, C 20, B 20, and A 15. Now once you get to S rank, no matter who you lose to, you can still rank down, and it only takes 10 losses to rank down. Although interestingly, once you get to Omega, there was no rank down condition listed. Does that mean once you get to Omega, you're good? You can stay there forever? Very interesting if so. Either way, looking at all these requirements, ranked climbs is going to be quite the grind. Especially if you're doing triple battles the whole time, or God forbid patch cards that already take forever to complete a match. You're going to be playing online for a long time if you want to get to Omega. Now the manual does note a little quirk to the algorithm that will help you to find opponents faster. It says, in the event that matchmaking proves difficult, such as when a host's search exceeds a certain amount of time or when a guest has carried out a number of consecutive searches, the search criteria will gradually be expanded to include ranks outside of your band, meaning you may be matched with players of very different ranks. And you know, it's funny because this actually solves the problem that Rockman X Dive has right now, where let's just say that you're in B rank. However, B rank is dead because if someone is already invested into the ranked battles, they're going to be in A rank or higher. So everyone is playing those ranks, but then as the season progresses, even A rank and SA rank becomes dead. So now everyone that actually cares about ranked, which isn't that many, is going to be in the GA ranks. That makes getting up to that rank way harder because the matchmaking is dependent on your rank. You can only find people that are B ranks as well. And so PvP becomes super dead, like a graveyard, and you can't rank up because you can't find anyone to play. It looks like with the Bannerwork Legacy Collection, this is how they are going to solve that issue. So, you know, in the distant future when the online does become dead, because we know it will happen eventually, you'll at least be able to expand your search from outside of your rank, so you can at least find somebody. Although, years from now, assuming this game is still around, you're probably just going to find the super hardcore Battle Network players of the OP folders and strategies that just annihilate you in 2 turns, but that's still better than the setup Rockman X Dive has. So before we move on to the other online modes, I think I just want to go down the list and tell you what exactly you can expect in terms of PvP options for every game. So again, Battle Network 1 is very simple. You either do practice or real thing. Moving on. Battle Network 2 is the same thing. Practice or real thing. Battle Network 3 is the game that introduces Triple Battle to the series, so here it is. And to be clear, Triple Battle is a best 2 out of 3 set. However, you may notice there is something missing from Battle Network 3. Actually a couple things. So the original game lets you choose between lightweight, midweight, and heavyweight. And really the difference is the different types of fields and objects on the field that you can have. Anywhere from rock cubes to actual guardians on the field. It seems like Legacy Collection entirely eliminated that option, and while the manual doesn't really go into detail, either they decided to go with one class, or maybe every match will have the class you're playing randomized. Of course, we can't really say for sure until we start playing. Stay tuned for our eventual review. Oh, and the tournament mode where you did 69 consecutive matches in BN3 is also not in the Legacy Collection. Clearly the number of matches was too nice for this game to handle. On that topic though, how cool would it have been to have a built-in tournament mode for this collection? The manual says nothing about it, so I'm gonna assume it's not here, but yeah, that would have been nice. Alright, moving on to Volume 2, this is where things start to get a bit more interesting. So Battle Network 4, in addition to practice and real thing, as well as single battle and triple battle, we can now choose between normal battle and version battle. The only difference is, normal battle allows you to play with anyone, no matter what version they are on, whereas version battles will pitch you against an opponent of the opposite version. And this is how you power up your Red Sun and Blue Moon Giga Chips, because their power level is dependent on how many matches you win against a person of the opposite version. I should also mention that for the version battles, they are all going to be triple battles, so you gotta win a best 2 out of 3. And of course, as previously covered, all of the Volume 2 games will be able to enable or disable patch cards. So if you want a pretty standard game, disable the patch cards, or if you want complete chaos and go absolutely bonkers, turn on those patch cards and you're going to be here for a while. Heading on over to Battle Network 5, it's the same rules as BN4, except we don't have version battles in BN5. So it's either single, triple, and if you want patch cards or not. There's no crazy team battles or whatever the Double Team DS version had, which makes sense because those were DS exclusive. I would have liked to see that PvP mode ported over to GBA, but I know why they didn't. Although going into BN6, here's something I'm actually really upset about. Again, it's really simple. Single or triple, and do you want patch cards or not? For anyone who has actually delved into BN6 PvP before, you may notice a glaring omission here. Yes, that's right. Legacy Collection cut out the random battle mode in Battle Network 6. And man, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that, I'm so bummed by that. So first let me explain what random battle was all about. First of all, in random battle you would select between 3 different difficulties, then you and your opponent will be given a random folder and Navi customizer setup from a pool determined by the difficulty that you selected. You will be given a chance to look over your folder and regular and tag the chips that you want, and then you go into the fight and may the net battler the best skill win. And that was the point of random battle mode. It wasn't about who builds the best folder, it was just about who actually has the skill and flexibility to make use of what they're given. And that was the best part about it. You no longer had to worry about what's the meta strategies and the meta chips. You're just given a folder and you have a good time with it. And that's why I'm really bummed about no random battle mode, because there's no denying that especially the earlier games in the Battle Network series are going to have some pretty dang toxic meta games. Especially since the manual makes no mention of a ban list for certain chips, and the developers have talked in the past about how they don't want there to be any restrictions on chip usage, which is why they went ahead and nerfed Dark Invis so they didn't have to ban it. So if anything, instead of a ban list, we're probably going to see little changes to different chips. Heck, there was a recent tweet where the Capcom art Twitter talked about limiting folder back usage to 1, which was actually a tournament rule back in the day. So hey, maybe that will be a change. Maybe they'll make folder back only be used once in PvP. I doubt they'll change it for single player. But yeah, we may see changes to how chips work in PvP as opposed to outright banning them. But even then, I doubt that the nerfs will go far enough. So PvP is going to be pretty dang wild and chaotic, especially for any games that are not, say, BN5 or BN6. Although even BN5 could use some bans. But I always thought, no matter how bad the metagame gets, we can always take a break with some good old random battles where it's more about your skill than your folder building. Nope, no fun allowed, says Capcom. And man, that's really depressing. That might be my #1 most depressing thing about this collection, besides the fact that there's no crossplay. So now we gotta figure out what's the most popular version. Oh, by the way, I did run a unscientific poll both on YouTube and Twitter, and a majority of you said that you're going to be playing the Nintendo Switch version. Many of you said that it's because, well, the games were Game Boy Advance games, so yeah, stick with Nintendo and play on handheld like the good old days. Yeah, that's fair. Although I would say that the Steam version with the Steam Deck is also a handheld. More expensive than a Switch, but still a handheld, so you could always play that way too. And yeah, the second place was indeed the Steam version, both for the Steam Deck users and for the possibility of mod support from the fans in the future, which is also a good choice. And PlayStation wasn't dead last. Not a lot of people were talking about PlayStation. It seems like the main reason to play PlayStation, according to some people, was for the trophies. Though I should say that achievements are in every version. Even the Nintendo Switch version will have those trophies. It's just that it's all going to be in the game itself. But yeah, it's pretty much as I predicted. Switch is going to be massively popular, and Steam will be viable too, especially for the hardcore players that are already playing on PC. And that's why I'm going to be maining those two versions myself. But yeah, that pretty much covers it for the online battles. I'm just really bummed about no random battles in BN6. That was my favorite mode to play. But thankfully, BN6 itself is more or less balanced. If download chips aren't banned at least, then everyone's going to be running Double Beast in their folder, but whatever, I guess. The other games are going to be really interesting, but maybe not the good kind of interesting. We'll have to see, because you do have to keep in mind that in the Legacy Collection, we're going to have to earn the chips the old-fashioned way. We can't simply use a perfect save that has all those copies of Area Grab Star and all this other good stuff right off the bat that you could pretty much go bonkers with creating your perfect folder with. No, you gotta start from scratch and grind out all those chips that you want. So for that reason, online may look completely different to what you already see in online communities like the N1GP. Another reason why I think the fan-made Tango program is still going to be here to stay even after Legacy Collection. Finally, let's get into trading. Same thing as before, you get to do public trade, private trade, or on the Nintendo Switch version, local trade. And then you go into the type of trade, which will differ depending on the game you're playing. Select the type of trade you want to perform, then you select if you want to be a host or a guest once again. And this is where things get a little interesting. So if you are a host, you're going to select the chip that you want to trade away. From there, you wait for a guest to come in and select your trade and offer up their own chip in exchange. And then, the host will decide if they want to accept the trade or not. Reminds me a bit of the global trade system in Pokemon, except it's more real time. And for what I'm seeing, you can't tell people what chip you're looking for. It's just, hey, here's a Cyber Sword. Alright, what you got? Oh, yeah, but cannon? Sure, I guess. Right off the bat, I could already see a need for a feature to actually tell people, hey, I'm going to trade this Elecman chip. If you could trade me a Tomahawk Man chip in exchange, that would be pretty nice. Because you know that trading the Navi chips between versions is going to be a big thing. And actually, if we skip ahead to battle number 4, they already do exactly what I'm talking about with the free tournament waitlist, which for the uninitiated, you would send your Navi data and Mega Man data to another player so that they can fight it in their own free tournament to get those secret chips. But you only got so many slots, so you're going to try to get every Navi into your list. And that's why when you're selecting your pre-composed message, there are a bunch of messages for, hey, I'm looking for Roll, or Thunderman, or Metal Man, or whatever. Yeah, that's exactly what I think should happen. But for chip trading, well, at least I thought of it for the free tournaments. That's the gist of how trading works. So again, let's just go down the list of what trading is possible in each game. So BN1 only has chip trading because there was no special things other than that. And it should be noted that download chips, as well as some other chips probably Giga chips most likely, will not be tradable. Meanwhile, BN2 has style trading, because they had 2 slots for styles. Although the manual notes that you must be using normal style if you wish to trade styles, so keep that in mind. Now, Battle Network 3 drops the style trading because you only get 1 style in that game. And yes, that is confirmed through the manual, you only get 1 style still. They didn't change that at all. But instead, BN3 has program trading, specifically Navi Customizer programs. Same thing as chip trading, you will put up the program that you want to trade, and then you wait for a guest to come and offer up their own program. BN4 also has just chip trading and program trading. BN5? Yep, same thing. However, BN6 does add folder trading, where you can copy the folder data of the person you're trading with and make it your extra folder. Although I should say that in the original game, you could not trade a folder if it contained a Giga chip. However, the manual makes no mention of this restriction, so perhaps you can include Giga chips in your traded folders now. Wouldn't that be nifty? Alright, so there's one more type of trading that we can do, and that is online comparing, which is available in BN3 through 6. First, we select compare from the menu, and then do public, private, or local if you're playing on Switch. Next, select compare chip library or compare SP Navi records. In compare libraries, you will compare your data library with other players and help fill in any gaps that each of you might have. In compare records, you will compare your personal best SP Navi deletion times and unify them to the fastest record between you. The faster your total record time, the more powerful your SP chips will become. So it's more of a beneficial thing for both of you. To begin, once again you will select host or guest to either create a room or select someone that you wish to start a comparison with. On the compare list, you can actually see what their library is looking like, including their standard, mega, and giga totals. So you could try to find someone who has more of a complete library than you to help fill in some gaps. And well, that covers online. Overall, it's pretty competent, I would say. It sucks that random battle mode was cut, but the rest of the features and how everything is presented looks pretty much as we expected. Although I am pleasantly surprised that the private lobbies are actually full-on lobbies with up to 15 people and not just a simple, hey, I'm a host, you're a guest, let's connect, like the original game was. So having more than one person at a time in your private lobby is going to help a lot. The last thing that the manual will mention is the patch cards and download chips. We've already covered all this before, so I'll just kind of skim over it. But we do get additional screenshots of the download chips and the patch cards that are available in each game. Obviously, only Volume 2 games have the patch cards, whereas the Volume 1 games only get the download chips. But as you can see, they are all available through the same menu by pressing X on Nintendo Switch in the Mega Man menu. It should also be noted that you can access the patch cards and download chips menu from the collection menu as well. You don't have to be inside a game to look at them. Now, one thing I was hoping to see as part of these screenshots was what those special cards are in BN6. We know that there is a new special card for the Z-Saber in BN4, but I want to see what BN6 has, because there is still one omission left that they have yet to discuss, and that is the Beast Gate. It's like the Battle Chip Gate, where you can slot in physical battle chips that you could buy in the real world, but the Beast Gate also lets you upgrade your Link Navis and operate them as if they were Mega Man. And even Proto Man was a Link Navi that you could operate, as well as an SP version of Mega Man. In the original EXE6, when you slotted in the Navi data in your Beast Gate, you would go to a terminal in Tab's chip shop in order to swap out Mega Man with the Navi that you put in. And this actually ties into a title screen icon called the Beast Gate icon, and the way to get that is you take every single SP Link Navi for your version over to the graveyard area to defeat base SP with all of your SP Link Navis, and once you do, you get the title screen icon. But if Legacy Collection does not do anything for these SP Link Navis, then that is a title screen icon that's going to be left out forever. So I'm hoping some of these special cards, whenever we get to see them, maybe might contain a workaround for the Beastgate where we can just play around with some of those SP Link navies. Oh, and I say workaround because I noticed that on the online store page for the Legacy Collection, they mentioned specifically that the toy features are not included in the collection. So that means most likely Beastgate itself is not going to be supported, which makes sense, but you know, they could still do a workaround for this. We've already seen the fans do it. They could do something. It would also be really cool to have those for PvP battles so we can have our own little fun Link Navi tournaments. Come on, Capcom, I know you want to do it. But alas, the manual does not show what the special cards are, so we're going to keep guessing for a while here. Other than that, the manual, again, is pretty straightforward. It was mostly the online and the patch card stuff I wanted to go over. Although I will give them kudos for detailing all of the abilities of Mega Man's different transformations throughout the series, as well as all of the unique mechanics. Although, people have found some errors in the BN6 manual, and one of them has us scratching our heads. Because in the cross-chain section, it looks like the error of Spoutman is back, because it's listed as Spoutcross and Link Navi Spoutman, and Spout Beast as well. Huh? Hold on a moment. But it said Aquaman in that deletion time screenshot a while ago. Why is it Spoutman again in the manual? Thought we were done with that. Well, I think at least it's an error. They may have just looked at the English manual and copy and pasted it. At least that's my theory. Hopefully when we actually play the game, it's gonna be Aquaman and Aquacross. Hopefully. Unless they reverse their decision for whatever reason. That screenshot from a while back tells more than this manual does. Another error has to do with Tengu Cross. So they mentioned that Tengu Cross has float shoes, which makes it so you're not impacted by panel effects. But in reality, he only has air shoes, which allows him to move over whole panels, not float shoes. So that's a slap on the wrist right there. Don't be giving us hope. Unless Tengu Cross actually did get a buff behind the scenes. That would be funny. Alright, that's everything that I wanted to talk about from the manual. So the last thing we have to discuss today is some off-screen images that came out of the Just Dance Game Festival in Taiwan. And user RM11CL4 has posted some of their own screenshots from their playtime playing BN3. Some of the more interesting things from that coverage includes the fact that you can toggle on or off Buster Max mode before you even start a game. Meanwhile, here's a shot of the gallery where we see a Star Force jump scare. Oh my god, that's Geo. Yep, this is one of the key arts from Operate Shooting Star, which is essentially an enhanced port of BN1, so it makes sense why it's here. But man, now people are going to start thinking there's Operate Shooting Star in the collection, and let me tell you, no, there is not. It's still GBA. But there you go, there's your little teaser for a future Star Force Legacy collection perhaps. Let's hope that becomes a reality one day too. Additionally, we get yet another look at the achievements in Volume 1, and we have now confirmed that the icon with the longsword correlates to using the humor program in Bound Network 3. Wait, what is the humor program achievement using the longsword? Wait a minute. Oh my god. Is this a reference to the Booger longsword? Did they really go there? God dang it, Capcom. Oh, and here's a look at the gallery menu itself. We have the images, of course, trophies, music player, mystery data, which I believe is where all the toys and merchandise is, similar to the merchandise section that the EXE Legacy Collection gallery had, and of course the credits. Now I do want to draw attention to the trophy icon here, with Chad holding that NetBattle trophy. Yeah, that's not from any of the games in the collection, that's from Battleship Challenge. And indeed, there is Battleship Challenge assets here, aside from OSS, even though neither of those games are playable in the collection. Ironic, isn't it? It's like the Day of Sigma OVA situation all over again, where we got the OVA but no Maverick Hunter X, where we get to see the voice credits list. And it is as we expected, only Rockman / Mega Man gets a role in this collection as part of the whole PET thing. Here we also get confirmation that, of course, Akiko Kimura is doing Rockman, Andrew Francis from NT Warrior reprises his role as Mega Man, and we got a deep cut here. Carrie Yang from the Chinese dub is reprising their role as Mega Man / Rockman as well. Wow, once again, Capcom is really going out of their way to bring back all these actors for this collection. It's really cool. But yeah, that pretty much does it for our Battle Network news for today. I won't lie, I got my dreams crushed today with the lack of random battle mode for being 6. That's a huge bummer, dude. But overall, I'm still excited for this collection. Having any online at all is still better than nothing, and I'm interested to see what other changes they made for the single player aspect of the games, because the manual isn't going to cover everything. With only 2 weeks left, hopefully I will be reviewing the game soon. So I don't know if this will be the last mega news before the Battle Network Legacy Collection or not in terms of Battle Network news. I'm gonna guess probably not, because there will be Beast coming up, Beast Plus. But I got a question for you guys. After going over all the information from the manual today, what are some other things that you really want to know about the Battle Network Legacy Collection? Any little details that you wish they would include in the collection that hasn't been discussed yet? Script changes or anything like that? Because hopefully, fingers crossed, if I get to review these games, I'll be going over all that stuff. Until then, however, I want to thank all of you for watching. Stay tuned to ShadowRockZX for more on Mega Man and the Battle Network series in general. Be sure to check out the mmnetwork.com for all sorts of Mega Man articles and videos like this one. And as always, I want to thank all of our ShadowRockZX YouTube channel members, including SA class supporters Ellen Reyes, X Black, Adversatrix, and Spazer, GA class supporters Adrian Calder and Austin Buford, and Ultimate Hunter class supporters LML123 and Vile Syndrome. Thank you all so much for your support. And well folks, if we don't see each other again anytime soon, I'll see you in 2 weeks when we jack in to the Battle Network Legacy Collection. It's almost time, baby. Legs go. Until then, rock on, have yourselves a great time zone.